Crack all the windows, open the doors, love. We'll dance for joy and laugh at the...
Hey everyone! Today's video is full of spring inspiration and ideas. I have a little bit of everything for you, some thrift finds, a few antique finds after a visit to my favorite local antique market last weekend, and some styling ideas with some of these finds. Let's go ahead and get started. We have lots to do. First, I have a few thrift finds and some easy projects you could do to give pieces like these a bit of a different look. I picked up this basket for $2 and it has a ton of different options for organization and for styling. I didn't love the color, so I'm going to change that using a paint wash. This is such a simple method. I have some chalk paint in the color Milk Jug that I am watering down. The more water you add, the more transparent the paint is going to be. I just applied the wash and then let it dry out in the sunlight for a couple hours. I didn't worry too much about the inside, as you won't see this very much when it is styled. I am going to be using this basket as a functional piece on my desk in my office. I am always doing DIY projects in the kitchen, and I thought that this would be a great little caddy to store and carry my crafting supplies. This piece would also be great to use for outdoor entertaining. You could put napkins and utensils in the basket, and it makes it so easy to transport everything outdoors for dining. Next, I have some thrifted frames. I think I paid $1.50 for each of these, and they were a gray color when I originally bought them. I painted them with the same white chalk paint that I used on the basket, just without the water. This finishing wax is one of my favorite products. This jar has lasted me several months because you need just a small amount for each project. I am using a wax brush to apply a very thin layer to the paint to give them an antique or aged look. Once dry, I added a matte clear coat to seal everything. I am sure many of you have seen this little trick with the Mod Podge to make prints look like paintings. I am just adding a single layer of matte Mod Podge to this print, which I downloaded for free, and I will link the site where it came from for you. Once the first layer is dry, I go back in with a smaller brush to add some texture. When I added the print to the frame, I took the glass out of the frame and tucked it behind the print to make it look more like a painting. This is actually my office space, which I rarely show because I have been working on this space for so long. This is another area of my home that is not finished. I am okay with that though. I prefer to plan spaces with intention and collect pieces over time to curate the look and feel that I want. Sometimes that means I have to be okay with things being unfinished for a while. These next pieces are thrifted finds from Goodwill over the last couple of weeks. I also took a trip to my absolute favorite local vintage market last weekend. I shared a reel on my Instagram if you are interested in a peek at the market. When I go to the market, I tend to look for affordable pieces with lots of charm, like this found vintage book stand. I paid $18 for this one, and I love the warmth and detail on it. I also found a few small pieces to add to my cabbageware collection. I think the swan planter was my favorite find. It is a Holland mold ceramic piece, and some of you may remember my love for birds and swans, so I couldn't pass it up. One of my friends over on Instagram, Lisa, shared this beautiful book, and I will link her account for you. She is so sweet and kind, and I love her Instagram as well. Anyways, I am styling this book on the stand in my entryway for a pretty and simple spring look. I try to share a mix of things on my channel, thrifted, old, and new. I know sometimes you want to be able to go out and find pieces that are shared, so I do try to incorporate new, but also share inspiration for what you may be able to thrift as well. When I decorate my home, I wouldn't call myself a minimalist, but I'm not really a maximalist either, although I find beauty and inspiration in both of these styles. I think I just fall somewhere in the middle of the two. I love to put together things in my home in a way that feels just right to me, and I encourage you to embrace that when you style your home as well. I want my home to feel lived in, warm, and inviting. I keep those things in mind when I style my spaces. Here is one of those little cabbageware finds that I picked up, and I am simply adding that to the cabinets in my kitchen. Earlier, I mentioned my friend Lisa over on Instagram. She was so sweet to mail me these beautiful dish towels after I searched my local home goods and couldn't find them. I think that they are just so sweet. I am sharing 2 kitchen table styling ideas here. For the first one, I am using the towels as my base and then adding in my new swan planter and the cabbageware salt and pepper shakers. I do love to have fresh flowers somewhere in my kitchen, even if it's just a small arrangement. I found these beautiful tulips at Costco. I am styling them in the Thrifted glass pitcher. I am using the floral plate that I shared as my base on the table, and then adding in the flowers, a candle, and the salt and pepper shakers. I also had this little white pitcher that I picked up for $1.49, and I am going to simply add it to the peg rails in my kitchen. My final project today is going to be making a spring wreath for my front door. I always see so many beautiful wreaths when I am out and about, but they are usually so expensive, especially for a larger wreath. I thrifted this grapevine wreath a while ago, and I always seem to see these when I am at the thrift stores. I often pick them up and just remove whatever florals are on them so that I have a blank wreath to work with. All of these florals I already had, but even if you bought all of the materials to make this wreath, I do think that you could make it for $20 or less. I am using these geranium bushes that are from Michael's, and I believe they are on sale right now. I think I used about 4 of them for this wreath. I also have some lamb's ear, and I have had this for so long, I don't even remember where I got it. It might have come from Walmart. I just pulled it out of my spare greenery bin, and then I used 2 Cosmo stems from Hobby Lobby. I tend to use an asymmetrical design for my wreaths for a couple reasons. 1, you don't need as many florals, so it reduces the cost. And 2, it adds a little bit of interest in something a little bit different to your front door. I usually work flat first, but I always hang my wreath up and then make adjustments as needed. Also, I don't use glue when I am attaching my florals so that I can reuse the wreath. I will usually use floral wire. I hope you all enjoyed this video and you got some ideas and inspiration for your home. I hope you will join me for next week's video, where I will be sharing some of my favorite floral stems and styling ideas. In the meantime, be sure to check out one of these videos next, and I am looking forward to seeing all of you next week.